Taipei, day 3.
The apartment search saga, the rental saga continues. I haven't been able to finalize anything yet. I only seen a couple of units, and I have a feeling that the market has softened a little bit. The ones that I thought would be 21, 22 are generally around 20,000. Of course, there's some fees and all, but still, this year I was able to find way more options than last year when I came back. And the agents kind of a little more responsive this time. Knocking on the wood, and I was even kind of getting responses from the owners who were saying 10 months is okay. I'm attributing this to the fact that there's maybe fewer foreigners this time around. All foreigners are getting spooked by the overall situation, geopolitics, economic situation, and right now also the energy crisis. Everything is having a dampening effect on travel, relocations, long-term stays and stuff like that. So hopefully I can find something relatively decent for just around 20,000 plus the utilities and some monthly fees. I also got a response from the guy from a really nice place, but the building is old. It's a walk-up building, and it's a little bit off from any of the MRT lines except the yellow line. So it's in Datong, near Dihua Street, just one block away from Dihua Street. That would have been really nice, and I kind of regret declining it. Upon consideration, I decided I better stick around here with better MRT connectivity. I need at least good intersection, the blue line ideally. I prefer this kind of locations. So you have two MRT lines. This would be kind of ideal if I can find something around here. The other such place would be the Daan station, just a few kind of blocks down south. That's the kind of setup, that's the goal. The bottom line in this area, along the brown line and three main intersections, you can find some small studio for 20 to 25,000, and with the utilities that will be from 22 maybe to 26. Most of the apartments on the market are brokered by agents. Taiwanese landlords typically don't like to deal directly. A lot of them are busy working. The agents typically take half a month rent for the annual contract. So as an example, if it's a 24,000 monthly rent, half of the monthly rent will be 12,000, and if you're staying for 10 months, so it will be 1,200 NT additional per month that you will need to kind of include in your budget. If that place was 24,000, including the brokerage fee, that becomes 25,200. Plus there will be utilities, water, electricity, will be at least another 1,500 per month. Plus there will be, so that's what, that's 26,700, and there will be internet probably, so another 500, 400 to 500, maybe 600. So let's say 500, round it down to 2,700 per month, your fixed expenses. In a small studio in a elevator building of central location. It is what it is. If you are a typical office worker here in Taipei and your monthly salary is about 50 or 60,000, your monthly rent and fixed expenses will be pretty much half of your monthly income. Doesn't leave a lot of leeway for discretionary spending. there will be situations where you may run into kind of a bidding war between different tenants, or you will just know it implicitly that the landlord has some other options, as they do usually, especially when the market gets tighter. So they will be comparing longer term versus shorter term. Maybe you will ask for a little bit of a bump up for the monthly rent, but ultimately they will be kind of assessing their risks, and it will fall upon you to reduce their perception of the potential risk. So they will be asking for things like, do you have a local guarantor, friend or a colleague who can vouch for you? You're not going to run away and not paying the rent. Gotta have those ready at hand. What else you can have? For instance, if you don't have a guarantor, or you don't want to get anybody involved in your rental situation, show the landlord, landlady, your bank book from the Taiwan bank that shows your incoming monthly payments, monthly salary. So that helps sometimes. Obviously have your paperwork in order, passport, visa, ARC, all that kind of stuff. My earlier suspicion turned out to be true. There's a whole string of apparel shops, or maybe some household stuff shops have shut down. One of the ugliest buildings, if not the ugliest building in Taipei. It's a former hotel slash shopping mall. In Taiwan, what they do is when a large hotel fails, becomes more decrepit, and kind of maybe the owners have a falling out due to their complicated family ownership structures, the whole thing kind of disintegrates, and different groups run away with different chunks of the property, and they can't really run it as a one single like standalone hotel, and a lot of times it's converted into kind of amalgamation of hostels and furnished rooms, and typically the management situation really quickly deteriorates. The common fees, the large like infrastructural expenses, they fall behind on them, and they don't actually do, they might do all of the ongoing things, but they won't do any reinvestment. And when you're running a big piece of property, you do need to reinvest, and they get worse and worse, and yeah, eventually turn into slums. A bit like what was it called, Chongqing Mansions in Kowloon in Hong Kong. Walk-up buildings. Some of them have elevators, but most of them are walk-up buildings. So there's kind of the nightly fun of waiting for the garbage truck, sometimes chasing after it. These are all walk-up buildings, pretty hastily built in the 1950s, 60s, very cheaply back then. Nobody thought they would kind of last that long, and yet they're still here. Gradually they are being demolished in this area and replaced by new high-rise condos, but the prices in them are so ridiculous, barely anybody can afford to buy there. Those 20,000 range was for slightly better than this, kind of an older building with an elevator. But the newer condos that are being built, you won't find anything cheaper than 35, maybe 40,000. And paying that kind of rent is kind of stupid, I think. Well, maybe not if you are making enough money, but for most people it'll be kind of stupid. Finding something in these kind of 1970s condos would be good because they're quite sizable. They have the elevators. They're not as expensive as the new ones, and they're way better than the old walk-up buildings. But typically these ones, they will have larger apartments, not really kind of for a single person. They're way too expensive. I don't really understand the whole point of these cages outside the balconies. They don't make a lot of sense. Like, who's going to climb over to the 8th floor? Albeit, let it be said that back in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s, apartment thefts, burglaries were quite a common thing because people did used to have some valuable items at home. Now the shit is kind of cheap, so there's no point stealing really stuff from homes. Yeah, but the cages still remain. They are actually a big fire hazard.